Shwmae pawb and croeso y coginio ar y hyd. Hello everyone and welcome once again to the cook along. My name is Richard and heddiw, today we are going to be making a leftover Christmas turkey curry, and we're going to serve that with some pea pakoras and also some onion bhajis, which are just to the side of me just over there. So let's get cracking with today's cook along. The first recipe that I'm going to quickly talk you through is obviously our slow cooker turkey curry, because that's going to take the longest to cook. And the great thing about this is you just chuck everything in and forget about it for 8 hours on low in your slow cooker, right? And it looks very similar to that just there. You can see that I have already pre-prepared this one, but I promise you it is, in the words of my West Walian friend, cowing lush. So I'm just going to pop that basically back into my little slow cooker just over there. And as I said, it's a one pot wonder. You just chuck everything in and you forget about it. You'll need approximately 250 grams of leftover turkey, or if you haven't got leftover turkey, you could add some cooked chicken. You could even do a corn vegetarian one as well. So there's lots of ways in which you can do that. You pop your turkey or your sauce of meat right in the bottom of the slow cooker, then you add everything else. And all I've done is I chopped up an onion. I had some mixed peppers. These were actually frozen peppers, so it works out 1 medium onion and about 150 grams of your frozen peppers. You then need 2 teaspoons of tomato puree, a stock cube, you've got a can of tomatoes, a can of green lentils, and I've chosen to use green lentils today because they from a can, so you can just pop them straight in, water and all. And then you've got a little bit of curry powder, a little bit of turmeric, and you also need the obligatory mixed herbs just to add that flavour as well. You pop it all into your pot, then you cook it off for 8 hours on low or 4 hours on high, and you end up, as I said, with this wonderful little slow cooker sort of curry just there. Don't worry, I've got asbestos hands anyway, and this is nice and cool for me to touch at the moment because I made this earlier. So we've got that one just there. So I'm going to now move on to the stars of today's show, which are our pea pakoras and also our onion bhajis. And these are some 2 recipes that I've made lots out in the community, and they are an absolute winner, right? Really nice. You can make a large batch. Anything that you don't eat can be popped in the freezer. You can just pull them out and you've got some little Indian snacks ready to eat, okay? And it's super easy, I promise. So I'm hoping by now that the recipe card has just come up on the side over there, and the star of today's show of our pea pakoras is obviously our peas. And I've got approximately 200 grams of frozen peas just there, and literally all that I've done, I've defrosted them in the microwave, and I'm also going to cook off I also cooked off rather my onions, which I've already have been cooked in the microwave as well. Can't get my words out today. So both of those are cooked. You can see we've got our defrosted peas and we've got our cooked onions just there. And all that we're going to do with those, I don't know why I put it into my little jug, because all of that is now going to go into my mixing bowl. And the first thing that we're going to do is we just need to mash, and mash them just until you start crushing them and things like that. So you're just going to mash them down, and mash in Welsh is one of my favourite words, is stwnsio, okay? So you're going to stwnsio just down, just like that, making sure that you just crush them down just slightly. And it all depends on how big your masher is. I like them quite chunky, these ones, right? So they are, I promise you, really super tasty. So I'm just going to pop those just into there, just like that. So I'm just crushing them down. You can see they're starting to crush down with those onions. And once you've done that, we're then ready to add the rest of the ingredients. So I've done my peas just like that, and you can see they're nicely crushed, and you've got all those lovely green bits just in there. Then we're going to add the next ingredient, which is 1 small can, or I've used half a can today, of these new potatoes. And I like using canned potatoes, A, because they're already cooked, B, because they're really cheap. I think I paid about 35 pence for that whole can, and they're really easy to grate as well. So I've just grated, and here's some that I prepared earlier. I've just grated our potatoes just there. You can see they're nice and small, and all of those are just going to go into there just like that. Then I'm just going to give that a little mix, just as so. And you've got all those lovely colours just there as well. Okay, so that all goes in to there just as so. Then the next thing is I've got 50 grams of breadcrumbs, and these breadcrumbs started life, just grab it from over there, started life as these little brown part baked baguettes, and they're great for grating in just as so, right? And really easy to grate. So I'm just going to pop all of those in just like that, give that a really good mix. And then the final thing that I have got is our flavourings. Okay, the first thing I'm going to add is my curry powder. I've chosen today to use this mild sort of tikka flavour curry powder, and I'm going to grab myself a little dessert spoon, and I want 1 heaped dessert spoon just like that, right? You want to add as much flavour as possible. The next thing that I am going to add, looking for it just there, is a little bit of turmeric. And as I've mentioned in previous cook-alongs, turmeric is one of those things, right, that is absolutely fantastic as an anti-inflammatory. Okay, so if you're suffering with joint pain, then add turmeric to your recipes, and that will aid the absorption and aid your joint, pain in your joints. I can't get my words out today, I don't know what's going on. So you've got that just going in like that, and I promise you the smell from that is absolutely amazing. You can see it's already changing colours. Then we're going to take it even further. I've got some coriander, and this is fresh coriander leaf, some dried coriander leaf. So I want about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of that. I've got my obligatory mixed herbs. Because we're not adding any extra salt to this recipe, we want to try and get as much flavour in as possible. So I'm going to add my mixed herbs, and then you can either add a clove of garlic, or as I've got just here, I've got some garlic granules. So I'm just going to cheat again today. Give that a really good mix and combine it all just like that, and you have got, I promise you, these wonderful little pea pakoras, right? So mixture. So all that we're going to do now is I'm going to give it a final little mix just as so, and then we're ready to start spooning it onto our tray. And you've got 2 options when it comes to spooning it out. You can either do it in these little muffin trays, or you can do free form onto there, and I'm going to do both today so I can show you how they look. Now then, the first thing you need to do is you do need a little bit of oil. So I've got a little bit of spray oil just there, and traditionally pakoras would have been deep fat fried, right? So we're already reducing the total amount of fat because we're going to be baking these, but we do need to add a little bit of oil. And these little spray oils are great, right? But it always makes me laugh because they say it's only 1 cal because it's fantastic, right? It's only 1 calorie because you spray 1 calorie, right? But you never actually just spray 1 calorie, do you? You spray about 4 sprays, right? But that's my little bugbear. So literally all that we're going to do is we need to make sure these are well compacted. So the way that I like to do it is just put a little bit of water onto your hands, and then you can grab that in your hands, and that should stop it from sticking together. And traditionally they are sort of a round sort of texture just like that, just as so. And I'm going to pop those ones just into my little tray there. So I'm going to do 3 of those for starters, and then I'm going to move on to the next recipe and finish them off in a couple of moments, right? Because I only need 3 for now. So those go into there just as so, and then that goes in there just like that. Little bit of water on your hands. That water does help to stop anything from sticking to your hands, so you need a good dessert spoon just like that. Give that a really compact it in your hands just as so, just like that, and that can go into there, so you've got those little balls just like that. As I said, that's the baking tray sort of the muffin tray sort of variety. I'm going to now do my baking tray little variety just there. So as I said, compact it, and then you can pop it straight onto there just like that. You need to compact it quite well, because otherwise when it starts to cook, it'll all fall apart, right? That's me falling apart. So we're just going to pop those on just like that. That goes as so. And as I said, I'm going to make 3 of these, but this mixture will probably make at least 10, possibly even 12, right? So I'm just going to move those around in my hand just as so. And I'm going to give my hands just a final little wash. The final thing that I need to do is just spray a little bit of your oil on top just as so. That will aid it to go nice and golden brown. In actual fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop those ones just on there so you're able to see them just like that. So you've got all of those just on there, and they then, once you have completed those, go into the oven 190 degrees centigrade for about 20 to 25 minutes, and they end up being lovely and crispy, and I promise you they're fantastic as a little snack, but even better when you have them as part of a meal. So those are our Pea Pakoras. In a couple of moments I'm going to show you how to make our onion bhajis. Okay, so now that our pakoras are in the oven, we're ready to start making these lovely little bhajis. And you can see, as always, I've done a little bit of preparation. I've chopped up 1 onion just there, and I've got the other half of the can of potatoes. I've chopped up the onions nice and finely, and I grated the potato just like that. You could use something like sweet potato if you wanted to, or normal grated potatoes, but as I said, I really like using the canned potatoes because they've already been cooked. They're nice and cheap, and they grate down really well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix all of that up just like that, just as so. And as with all of my recipes, rather than deep fat frying, we're actually going to bake these in our little muffin tin once again, and I promise you these are absolutely delicious, right? So I'm going to pop those in just like that. Make sure that's really well combined. Then we have got our herbs and our spices. So once again, I've got the obligatory mixed herbs. We're not adding any extra salt to this recipe, so we want to get as many flavours in as possible. So I'm going to add half a teaspoon of that. I've got half a teaspoon of my garlic granules, which works out at approximately 1 clove of garlic. I've then got 1 teaspoon of my dried coriander. You could use fresh if you wanted to, but this is a good alternative. I like a little bit of spice also in my onion bhajis, so I'm just going to add some chili flakes, just 1/4 of a teaspoon, just like that. And then the final thing that we've got is I've once again got my curry powder, and you're going to need 2 really good heaped spoonfuls of that. So 2 heaped teaspoons of that, just as so. And the final thing is I've got 2 heaped spoonfuls of just plain flour, and the plain flour is the most important part because it's going to help to make the batter when we add the egg in a couple of moments. So all of that is just going to go in just like that, and I'm going to give that a really good mix. Or one of my jokes at the moment, right, is thinking about mixing and pop groups. So I'm going to give it a little mix, but in one direction. Okay, so give that a really good mix, just round like that, just until it is all combined like that, right? And once again, it smells arogly nice, really, really delicious. So I'm just going to pop that to the side. I've then got just my little egg. There's an escaped onion just there. So I've got my egg just there, and I like to crack my eggs just with one little swoop. I can then get my hand in just like that, pull that open, and I pop a little bit of antibacterial gel onto my hands, and I'm going to give that just a little whisk, just as so. And I'm going to move my tray just over the side, and then the final thing, this is going to create your sort of batter for our little onion bhajis. Couldn't remember what I was making just then. So all of that is just going to go into there just as so. We've then give that a really good mix just until everything is combined. And what should happen is that the egg should combine with the flour and all that spices and create a nice little batter, right? So, and it should all be dry enough, not really, really wet, but it should all sort of start to stick together just as so. And you can see that it is now starting to stick together. I can flatten it down, and you've got that nice little bit of batter all the way around, right? Then all that we're going to do, I'm just going to leave that there for just a couple of moments, and I'm going to concentrate on my little tray. I need a little pastry brush, because rather than using my oil this time, I just want to show you the other way of doing this. Just a little pastry brush, that goes in. If you haven't got a pastry brush, you could easily use some greaseproof paper just to scrub that and rub that all the way around. Make sure you get all the way around the edges, just like that, so it's really, really well coated. You could even use one of those little silicone muffin molds if you wanted to. So the next thing, just want to get that just there, hoping that you're able to see that. Yeah. So I'm just going to pull that off just as so. Then you want approximately a good spoonful in each of these, right? So all I'm going to do is just drop that in just like that. Make sure you press it down just so, right? It all sort of sticks together, right? So I'm just going to add a little bit extra just like that. It doesn't matter if it sort of goes all over the place, because that's what onion bhajis should look like. They shouldn't look perfect, right? And it gives them a little bit of texture. So all that goes in just like that. And this will mixture, the one onion mixture, will make 6 little onion bhajis. So they all go in just like that. Press them down really, really well, just like that, and then they should form that little shape afterwards. So that goes in just as so. So I've got this one just here, that goes in just there, and then I've got my final one, and I'll go back round because I've got a little bit of mixture left. So that just goes in just as so. Final bits, I'm going to pop a little bit just on there. Which other one needs some more? That one needs just a little bit more. And then finally I've got that one just there. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drizzle over just a little bit more oil on top, and that will help it to go nice and golden brown when it's in the oven. So those are our little onion bhajis, and you can see they're nice and golden already, but they're going to crisp up, and I promise you they are absolutely delicious. These get baked off in the oven, once again at 190 degrees centigrade, that's gas mark 5, for about 20 to 25 minutes, and they should hold their sort of form and be absolutely brilliant. Well, hello and welcome back. you can see that my bhajis and pakoras have now cooked, and this room smells absolutely amazing. I'm just going to hold up my pakoras for you first of all, and you should be able to see that they're now nice and crispy and golden brown. They've kept their shape and they really do smell absolutely fantastic. So those are my little pakoras, and then we have got our little bhajis just here. Again, you can see that the tips of those onions that were hanging out have nicely charred, so give it a little bit of crispy texture. Everything's cooked off and they're nice and golden brown as well. Now the great thing, as I said right at the start of this film, is you can make a large batch of these and then have some for your evening meal tonight or as a little snack at lunchtime, and then you can freeze the rest down, and next time over the Christmas period that you want a nice Indian snack, you could just take it out of the freezer, allow it to defrost and then reheat it in the oven, so it's a healthier, snacky sort of version. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to serve this with my leftover turkey curry. So I've just got a portion of wholemeal rice just there, and I've got my little slow cooker curry which we cooked off earlier, and I've just allowed this to keep warm on the in the slow cooker, and I'm just going to put on just 3 or 4 little pieces just there, trying not to get it over my plate. So I'm just going to pop that just on there, just as so. I'm then going to take one of my little pakoras, and I'm going to take one of my little onion bhajis, and I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of our coriander. So I'm just going to pour and shake that on just like that. As you know, I like a little green colour over my food, and you can see that you have got your leftover turkey curry with your onion bhaji and your pea pakora just there. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed today's cook along. It's been wonderful showing you how to make these lovely Christmas style Indian dishes. Don't forget, all the recipes are going to be available on the Facebook page as well as our website. The link is coming up for you just there. I look forward to cooking with you again in the future, but in the meantime, cook in your happiness.